and could have done her thing. But she was so strict being a Seventh-day Adventist at 17. So at this age, she had to make up her mind that she was going to live for the Lord come what may. And so she took that text to not lean on her own understanding to heart. And so when she arrived to New York, she met my dad on a subway train. She was lost. He had about 3 stops to get her phone number. And so he had to really work his head. You know how the young guys try to talk to them. And so they did exchange information, and he called her a couple times, and she was always so busy. And my dad got a little irritated. He said, now, do you want me to call you? You gave me your number. And so she said, okay, listen here, I'll call you back. And she did. They met. After 6 months, they were married. He wasn't Seventh-day Adventist, and he was Pentecostal. Somebody would say after 6 months you don't get married, but they did. So my brothers and I, we were in a situation, we had what? 2 different cultures, 2 different religions. My mother decided that she's going to walk the walk. She's going to talk the talk. She's going to be still and know that God is God. She knew that one day that God will bless her and that her family would live for the Lord in one accord under one roof. How does she know this? But it's the faith. And with my father being a Pentecostal pastor, he would come in on Friday nights with all of the good food, fried fish, and he went to Allen's Bakery in Brooklyn. Y'all know that. And bring back what? Patties and raisin breads and coconut breads. But if it was on Friday night, my mother would tell us, don't eat it. Why? Thank you. It was Sabbath. And it was bought on the Sabbath. So we could not have it. So what did my mother do? Do you know, I never once, and I'm trying to go back every time I tell this testimony, I never once heard my father and mother fight in that house. If they did, it was behind closed doors. If they talked about the religion, the culture, whatever, it was behind closed doors. And that's really important when you have children. Especially when they can grow up and say they never heard it before. What did she do? She kept us in Christian education. We went to church on Sabbath. She left tracts around the house. And then pastors, I don't know if you know Pastor Robert Lister, Pastor Gilbert Foster, a lot of the ministers will come and talk to my mom, but what they were really trying to see, who was this Pentecostal pastor that Sister Glover was married to? So they would come through the house and sit and watch and listen and ask him questions when he would walk through the house. But they never discussed anything in front of us. All I know, we were sitting in church. I believe it was the Mount of Olive Church in Brooklyn. And when we looked up, when the call was made to accept Jesus under the umbrella of the Seventh-day Adventist truth, here comes my dad, coming down the aisle to be baptized. Well, what did my mother do? She prayed. She fasted every Wednesday just for him. And one of the main things I want to say, she never came home and talked badly about the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Business meetings and board meetings, she never once talked badly. What if she did? A lot of times we're doing a lot of talking in that house. Even when we talk about things that are going on in the church, little ones are picking it up. Should I stay in this church? All the problems in this church? We've got to be careful. One thing my dad did was he left everything behind. When I say everything, daycares with children in it, members, family members, church members, the money that Pentecostal ministers make. When I say money, it will be spread out on the bed, bundles of money. I was a little girl, and we didn't go to the bank, and we didn't stop at the teller. We went way in the back of the bank where the safes were, so my father could deal with his business and the money and the church, and he would go back in the back and take what he needed for whatever he needed. Money. The Pentecostal members know how to treat their pastors. Left it all alone. He would drive all over Brooklyn and look at all the buildings, apartment buildings he owned. And he's going to give all that up for Jesus? And before he left the church, I didn't know this, the Pentecostal church, he spoke on our Adventist doctrines. He spoke on the Sabbath. He spoke on unclean meats in his Pentecostal church. And when he was baptized, guess what happened? Many of the members came over as well. And today, they're still in the church. 55 years later, they're still marching together. Now, I look back and I say, what does the Bible say about marrying outside of the faith? Why was my mother blessed? When you're serious about God, He opens doors that man cannot open. You hear him? He knew her heart at 17. He made this thing work. So what can I rake in from what I watched? What can you rake in from what you just heard? There are people today, including yourself, who loves God that much and will give it all up for Him. Is that all right? It's important, saints of God, when we say that we trust God, we truly mean it. Many times we say it, and God is reading our hearts. And so that is what I'm trying to share with you this afternoon. We've got to get to a place where we say that we love Him, we trust Him. I don't care what sickness you have. God made you. And you have to give it all to Him. So when I met Sister Walden, I found out that she was sick. It reminded me of my parents' testimony, the faith that she had, where she would listen to the sermons and she would touch her body and pray over herself. Do you believe that God is still in the miracle-making business? Yes. Do you believe that miracles are still happening every day? Yes. Every day. Every day. And so what I try to tell my young boys, my babies, and anyone I come in contact with, as a teacher and as a professor, I'm in touch with so many people all over the world. You must align yourself with people who love Jesus. You must align yourself with people who will help you get to heaven. That way you're all doing the same thing, encouraging each other and praying for each other. That's important. Very important. I want you to look at that brown bag. Open it up. Is it open?
I know that sometimes when you're faced with situations, and sometimes when you think, well, if this is it for me, I need to get my life straightened out. That was not the view that I was taking. My view was, who can I turn to? And I figured that there's only one place to turn. When you get to that place where you are actually able to say to yourself, I've tried to run my life the way I think God wants me to run it, me and Him. But guess what? There comes a time when it's just Him. And forget about you. Because you have to turn to Him, because He said, through me you can do all things. Without me, you can do nothing. We haven't even gotten to that part yet of the text. We tend to think that we can help God out. Forget it.